One empire outlived Rome by 977 years. Historians barely mention it. Rome didn't collapse in 476. It simply relocated east. Today you'll learn how New Rome ruled 1,000 years unnoticed. By the end, you'll know exactly how this giant finally died. In 330 AD, Emperor Constantine built a new capital, Constantinople. He picked a spot surrounded by water on three sides. This location made the city almost impossible to conquer by force. Constantinople sat between Europe and Asia, controlling every major trade route. While Rome crumbled in the west, this eastern capital thrived. In 476, the last Western emperor was quietly deposed, no battle. But in the east, the empire didn't even notice the fall. Its citizens never called themselves Byzantine. They called themselves Roman. The word Byzantine was invented centuries later by Western historians. Calling them Byzantine was almost an insult, erasing their Roman identity. By 527 AD, Emperor Justinian I inherited this surviving Roman state. Justinian had one obsession: reconquer everything Rome had ever lost. His general Belisarius retook North Africa in under 1 year. Then Belisarius marched into Italy and recaptured Rome itself. For a moment, the fallen empire ruled Rome again. Justinian rewrote every Roman law into one master legal code. That code, the Corpus Juris Civilis, still shapes law today. He also built the Hagia Sophia in under 6 years. At the time, it was the largest church on earth. Its dome seemed to float, defying architecture for 1,000 years. Under Justinian, the empire held 26 million people at its peak. That was roughly 12% of the entire world's population. Constantinople alone housed over 1 million residents behind massive walls. Those walls had stopped every invader for over 1,000 years. Then in 541 AD, disaster arrived, not an army, but a plague. The plague of Justinian killed up to 10,000 people daily. Corpses piled so high, workers dug mass trenches across the city. Some historians estimate 25% of the empire's people died. Justinian himself caught the plague, and somehow survived it. His enemies whispered that God was punishing the emperor personally. The empire never fully recovered its population after this catastrophe. Yet somehow it didn't collapse, it adapted again and again. In the 7th century, Arab armies exploded out of Arabia. They conquered Egypt, Syria, and nearly captured Constantinople itself. The empire's answer was a secret weapon: Greek fire. Greek fire was liquid flame that burned even on water. Enemy ships caught fire, and sailors couldn't extinguish the flames. The recipe was so secret, historians still can't fully reconstruct it. Greek fire alone may have saved Constantinople from Arab conquest. But saving the capital didn't stop the empire from shrinking. It lost Egypt, Syria, and North Africa within a few decades. From 26 million people, the population fell by more than half. Then came a war the empire fought against itself: iconoclasm. For over a century, emperors banned religious icons as idolatry. Monks were tortured, images destroyed, churches stripped of their art. The empire nearly tore itself apart over paintings of saints. By 843, icons were restored. The empire had survived itself. In the 10th century, one emperor rebuilt it into a superpower. Basil II crushed Bulgaria so completely he earned a brutal nickname. History remembers him as Basil the Bulgar Slayer. Legend says he blinded 99 of every 100 captured soldiers. 1 man per 100 kept a single eye to guide them home. Under Basil, the empire reached its largest size in centuries. This era is called the Macedonian Renaissance, a cultural rebirth. Scholars copied ancient Greek texts that the West had forgotten. Without Byzantine monks, much of Plato and Aristotle might be lost. But right after Basil died, the empire made a fatal mistake. Weak emperors let the powerful army shrink to save money. In 1071, an untrained Byzantine force met the Seljuk Turks. At Manzikert, the empire suffered its most humiliating defeat ever. The emperor himself was captured, paraded, then eventually released. Asia Minor, the empire's main recruiting ground, was suddenly lost. Desperate, the next emperor asked Western Europe for military help. That request accidentally triggered the First Crusade in 1095. Crusaders marched through Byzantine land on their way to Jerusalem. Relations between Romans and Western Christians grew bitter and suspicious. In 1204, that suspicion turned into the ultimate betrayal. The Fourth Crusade, meant for Jerusalem, attacked Constantinople instead. Fellow Christians sacked the city their empire had defended for centuries. Priceless relics, gold, and bronze statues were melted down or stolen. Historians call it one of history's most profitable acts of treachery. The empire fractured into small, rival Greek successor states. Constantinople was recaptured in 1261, but the damage was permanent. The once mighty empire now controlled little more than a city. Meanwhile, a new power was rising just across the border. The Ottoman Turks slowly swallowed nearly every remaining Byzantine territory. By 1450, the empire was really just Constantinople and scraps. Its population had fallen from 1 million to under 50,000. In 1453, Sultan Mehmed II arrived with 80,000 soldiers. Constantinople's defenders numbered fewer than 8,000 exhausted men. The Ottomans brought something the old walls had never faced. A massive cannon, cast by a Hungarian engineer, joined the siege. It could fire stone balls weighing over 600 pounds each. For 53 days, ancient walls absorbed bombardment they were never built for. On May 29, 1453, the walls finally gave way. Emperor Constantine XI reportedly tore off his royal insignia and charged. He was never found. The last Roman emperor vanished in battle. Constantinople fell, ending 1,123 years of continuous Roman rule. Mehmed II rode into the Hagia Sophia and claimed a new title. He called himself Caesar of Rome. The empire's final irony. Western Europe barely mourned. They dismissed Byzantium for centuries already. Yet Byzantine scholars fled west, carrying ancient Greek manuscripts with them. Many historians credit this exodus with sparking the Renaissance itself. The forgotten empire may have quietly ignited Europe's rebirth. Rome never really fell in 476. It evolved and endured. It finally died in 1453, still calling itself Rome until the end.